Ahoy there! So, I have a Cunard voyage coming up. It's very exciting, and I thought that whilst I'm packing, it'll be a good chance to talk through what I've learned about packing for a Cunard voyage. So, this might be also useful for other cruise lines as well, but I specifically concentrated on Cunard, a lot of which is around the dreaded or loved dress code. So I divided it into sections. We have got clothing, and then on to toiletries and medication, electronics, documentation, useful things to bring, and optional extras. Okay, let's get into it. Starting with clothing, and spot the continuity error. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed I've changed my top. The reason is the last top was interfering with the microphone. So hopefully this will be a lot clearer. Okay, so I divided clothing into day wear and evening wear. Day wear is before 6 p.m. on Cunard, and we'll start with that. So first of all, gym wear and swimwear. So we've got two swimming costumes here, and we've got my tracksuit bottoms for the gym and my gym tops and my trainers. And then moving on to other day wear, we've got a selection of t-shirts here. And then I've got two pairs of jeans, one dark pair, one medium. Jeans are fine on Cunard in the day. And also dark jeans are fine in the evening as well on smart attire nights, but they just don't like ripped jeans. And then I've got a hoodie. And if I want to wear something a little bit smarter in the day, then I've got three pairs of chinos here. And I've got some jumpers, V-neck and round neck jumpers. And I've brought some collared shirts as well, which they're good for the evenings for smart attire nights, but also can be, if I want to wear something a bit smarter during the day, they're handy for that as well. And then I've got my socks. Socks, you can see, are in a packing cube, and I'll talk a little bit more about packing cubes later on. Underwear underneath. And then finally, I've got my coats over here. I've got a lightweight coat and a thicker coat, more insulated. The reason is that the weather can be so changeable on cruises, and I'm doing a Transatlantic, and even in the summer, and this is an autumn cruise, but even in the summer, Transatlantic can be quite cold. So the thing is to have layers and options. And finally, with that in mind, I've got a scarf as well. The evenings on Cunard, that's after 6 p.m. are divided into gala nights and smart attire nights. On a typical 7-night voyage, you could expect to have 2 gala nights and 5 smart attire nights. And this is a selection of things that I bring for the smart attire nights. Oh, just as a side note, if you really don't want to dress up at all, there are some venues on board where you don't need to adhere to a dress code, and that's the Golden Lion pub, the casino, the yacht club or G32, and the buffet, and maybe one or two others I can't remember now. Having said that, most people do enjoy dressing up, but you don't have to if you don't want to. That you can still leave your cabin and go to some venues on board. Okay, so we've got the chinos that I mentioned earlier on from day wear. So that's for smart attire nights, together with my belts. A selection of collared shirts. So there is laundrettes on board, and also there is a laundry service available as well, which you can pay extra for. So you don't feel you need to have to bring a shirt or outfit for every single day on board, because there is, on longer voyages, because there is an opportunity to have laundry done. Then I've got a couple of blazers and some smarter shoes. And finally, I have the suit carrier. And just to point out that this is one that doesn't have the handles of the hangers sticking out the top, because if you do have that, you'll have to carry it on board yourself. They won't allow you to check that into the checked luggage. So it's best to have one which is completely sealed. And also, you might be able to fit that in the suitcase as well, which is one less thing to carry. Okay, moving on with the clothing theme, we come to gala nights. And for gentlemen, the dress code for gala nights is going to be a dinner jacket or tuxedo or dark suit and tie. So here I have my dress shirts together with a bow tie, my dinner jacket, cummerbund, cufflinks, my black shoes, and I've also brought some liquid shoe polish. And then also on Gala Nights, there are themes. Occasionally there's one with no theme at all, but most often you have red and gold, black and white night, roaring 20s, or masquerade night. So I have, for black and white night, this handkerchief, red and gold, for red and gold night, obviously, and then my masquerade mask. And for women, I'm very aware that this video is very slanted at the moment towards gentlemen, but for ladies, then on Gala Nights, you can just go completely all out. They're cocktail dresses or beautiful huge ball gowns or whatever, that you can't be overdressed. And if you'd like to see my short of the Cunard dress code in a nutshell, I'll link it on the screen now. Before I leave this section, I just wanted to make a brief mention of packing cubes, which are fairly well known now, a really useful way of being able to compress and organise your clothes for packing. I'll demonstrate. So, with the socks that I had earlier, here they are in the packing cube, and then I simply close it and close the first lid, zip I mean, there we are, all the way around. And then there's this very clever second zip, which compresses. So around that comes. Yeah. There we are. So you can see organised and quite a bit smaller than before. And we can also demonstrate with some jumpers. So here are some jumpers. I'm going to put them in. That's it. Try and keep them increasing if I can. That's it. And then close it. Do this first zip up. That's that. And then the second clever compression zip. While I'm fiddling with zips, I'll just mention that although these do save space, on Cunard you can take as much luggage as you want, providing you can fit it in your stateroom. There we are. And there's that. So, quite a bit smaller. Okay, moving on. Toiletries and medications. Let's start with seasickness, which, let's face it, we all want to try to avoid if we can. So I tend to throw everything at it. I'll either take one of the medications like Quells or Stugaron, and I combine that with these kind of like wristbands, which have got like a little pressure point on them, which goes on your wrist. Let me just show you. Something like that there. You do 3 fingers in from the wrist, and that's the point where it goes on. So, and I wear that one on each wrist. Or I'll do the band and a motion sickness patch, which is a little patch you just stick onto your neck or onto your tummy, I think. So that's that. And then any medications you have, don't forget to pack them into your hand luggage, not checked in. Very unlikely that they'll go missing between the port and the ship. I mean, it's got hardly anywhere to go, has it? But even so, just to be safe, pack your medications in your hand luggage. And then really all else I want to say about medication, I think, is first of all, liquid rule. If you're not flying, the great thing about going from home port to home port, which in my case is Southampton, is no airports, so no liquid rules, just a whole lot less stressful, a whole lot more enjoyable experience. So I completely love the Southampton to Southampton cruises. So, which means, of course, you can just take my mouthwash and all that kind of stuff. Finally, the reason I've put some shampoo and conditioner here is actually I'm not going to take those because I'm happy with the Penhaligon's stuff on board. So on board you get Penhaligon's hand wash, shower gel, shampoo, and conditioner on request. So if you like conditioner, don't forget to ask for it from your steward. And also there's a lotion as well. And I find it's a premium product which works very well. It's got a lovely light fragrance, so for me it's great. The conditioner is quite sort of thin, a little silky, almost cloud-like, and I really like it. But if you need a conditioner that's got some real welly, some oomph, then you might want to bring your own conditioner. Okay, moving on. Regarding electronics on Cunard, the main thing I would say is it depends on which ship you're on. If you're on Queen Anne, then you have more power sockets, and also you have USB-C and USB ports as well, which is really handy. If you're on the older ships, that's Queen Mary II, Queen Elizabeth, or Queen Victoria, then there's much more limited electronic sockets, just 2 UK plugs, and I think there's another 2 USA sockets as well, and that's it. So, and also you can't bring along extension cords, they're banned. So you really have to make do with what you've got there. So for me, apart from some YouTubing stuff and my laptop, I'd obviously don't forget the charging cables, like really important thing there, and my phone. I've got some sockets converters, UK to USA and vice versa, which means that I can plug into the USA sockets on board, and then I've got 2 more power sockets available to me, making 4 UK plugs in the end. Also, I bring in a USB and USB-C hub, so these are allowed. You simply can just plug that in, and there you've got 2 USB and 2 USB-C ports. That's about £10 or something from Amazon. I got that. And finally, there's a smart tag as well, which means that I can put that in my luggage just to keep an eye on it in case it were to go missing, which is highly unlikely, but there it is. A final thing I might say is just with your mobile phone provider, if you're going to Europe or USA or wherever you're going, just see if there's a bolt-on or if you have foreign roaming included. Because if you do, then you won't have to do the ship a Wi-Fi when you're in port on port days. It'll save you some money. Okay, let's walk through some documentation. First of all, obviously, passport if you're going abroad, together with any visa requirements. I'm off to the USA, so therefore I have my ESTA printed out, so because at check-in at the terminal they like to see it. Then, of course, here's a boarding pass, which may sound obvious, but do download it or print it out before the day of your travel. I made the mistake one time of not doing that and turned up at the terminal and had an awful lot of trouble getting past security because you can't manage my booking on the day. So then you've got your luggage labels, and finally, if you're using parking in the terminal, and we're using CPS, which is linked to Cunard when you book it, then you'll need to have the documentation for the parking company. I've just brought along the little liquids bags, not for Southampton, but in case you're doing a fly cruise. Some airports still require you to put your liquids, less than 100 ml, into a liquids bag, so don't forget that. And then I've also brought along the credit card that I registered when I checked in. And the reason I'm mentioning this in particular is it's a Halifax Clarity credit card. That is one of a few credit cards that don't charge a foreign exchange loading. So most credit cards, when you use a foreign currency, then they charge around about 3% as a fee. And Cunard, although it's a British heritage, is owned by Carnival, which is a US cruise conglomerate, and their currency is obviously US dollars, and everything on board is charged to you in US dollars. So therefore, on most credit cards, when you get your bill, you're going to find that it will be a little bit more expensive than if you chose a credit card which doesn't apply a foreign exchange loading. Finally, I brought some dollars, and these are mostly just in case we want to tip any of the crew on board on top of our daily tip surcharge. So on Cunard, you'll find that you're charged, each person in your stateroom is charged a daily fee, which takes care of all of your tips for all of the crew, and no more are expected at all. Drinks are separate, so when you purchase drinks in a bar, then there's a 15% charge there, and that takes care of the tips for the bar staff. But if you decide that you want to tip even more, although it's not expected at all, but you may find, like we, that you might actually want to, because you feel that you want to show appreciation for some service which has gone above and beyond. And we found that on more than one occasion. So it's really nice to have some dollars that you can show your appreciation that way, and it will be appreciated. Okay, moving on. Useful things. This is a little bit of a random section, but it's a selection of things that I found useful and quite easy to forget on previous voyages. So obviously fragrances. You're going on a glamorous cruise line where there's gala nights, you're dressed to impress. Good to smell nice too. So you can go out all out on your fragrances. Some personal grooming items. In this case, I've got some tweezers and some nail clippers. Then my spectacles, and also lens wipes, which I find really helpful, not just for cleaning my glasses, but also for camera lenses and for laptop screens and so on. And then these are magnetic hooks, and these are really useful, especially if storage is a bit tight in your room. You can simply stick this on the cabin wall because it's all made of metal, and then you can hang your coat up or whatever it might be. Gives you a bit more storage options. And then in case you get warm at night, I mean, there is air conditioning, but if it's not working very well, or if you want an extra boost, then it's quite nice to have a fan, which you can control as well. And finally, I brought some highlighters, dual use really. Firstly, the bingo, you don't have to buy a bingo dibber that way, or it's also good for the daily program. When you're going through it, you can highlight the sort of things that interest you the night before for the following day. Okay, moving on. Cunard has an extensive list of banned items. Some are obvious, but others might surprise you. Extension cords, candles, and drones are all prohibited. Finally, we come on to optional extras, starting with water. So if you're in Britannia class, then bottled water isn't provided to your room, and you'll need to purchase a package if you want it delivered to your room. And that's quite expensive. It's about $23, I think, at the moment for 6 litres. So you might want to bring, if you can find the room in your luggage, some bottled water. There's 6 litres there. It'll be a lot cheaper than $23. The only thing is, obviously, it's heavy. You need to keep each piece of luggage under 23 kilograms. Also, if you're in Britannia class, then you won't get the Ely coffee machine. You get instant coffee instead. So if you wanted to find something which is a little more elevated than instant coffee, have a think about bringing something like coffee bags with you, or the powdered sachets for latte or cappuccino that you can buy in the supermarket. Just elevates your mornings a bit more. I brought some chewing gum because I just find it's really helpful to keep my breath fresh and to clean my teeth and so on during the day. Buying things like that on board are going to cost a lot more in the shop. Champagne. So Cunard allow you to bring 2 bottles of wine or champagne on board in your luggage. So do take advantage of it, because it's going to be a lot cheaper doing it that way than buying it on board. So here we've got a couple of bottles of champagne, which can go into the fridge. There's a fridge in each stateroom. And also, if you have got a sparkling wine, don't forget to bring a stopper as well for the bottle. Unless you drink it all in one sitting, of course. And now finally, Christmas. If you're traveling in the festive season, then think about going all out and decorating your room. So we've got there a wreath. The wreath can be hung on the door using a magnetic hook. You'll need one of the stronger magnetic hooks, so otherwise, as it just dragged the wreath down. But fortunately, friends we were traveling with had a stronger hook, and it just worked a proper job. And also some fairy lights, which you can then string up in your room again using the magnetic hooks. So there we are. I hope you found it very helpful, this packing tips for Cunard. And if you have, please consider giving me a like and subscribing to the channel. We've got lots more content coming out soon. Got this Transatlantic coming up, so we're doing lots of filming for that. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll sign off there. I'm David from Curious to Travel. Stay curious.